Namaste everyone. We are glad to invite you for the workshop on India's epigraphical heritage by Center of Excellence Art and Culture of Sri Shankarlal Sundarbai Shasun Jain College. I call upon COE intern to render the prayer.
नमो हरिहन्ताणं नमो सेदानं नमो आयरियाणं नमो वजायानं नमो लोये सवसहोनं एसो पञ्चनमुकारो सवपावपनासनो मङ्गलालंसे सवेसिं पडमं हवै मङ्गलम् पडमं हवै मङ्गलम्.
Please be seated. I kindly request Dr. Ramadevi Shekhar ma'am, the Director of Center of Excellence Art and Culture, to give the welcome speech.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Dear guests and participants, it is indeed very pleasure to welcome you all to this 5-day workshop. Through this workshop, we are very thrilled to have you join us for this immersive exploration into the fascinating world and the study of the historical handwriting. Over the next 5 days, we will delve into the intricate world of the classical as well as medieval scripts, analyzing the text ranging from the manuscripts to the stone and other sorts of inscription on various artifacts. This workshop will offer you a unique opportunity to enhance your skills in deciphering the scripts as well as interpreting the historical documents, and we hope you find in both enriching and inspiring. We look forward to engaging discussions, interpretation, and through discussions we learn. Thank you for being this part of the journey, and we are very extremely honored to have our chief guest, Dr. T. Satyamurthy sir, who is a former officer in Archaeological Survey of India, as well as is a secretary of Dr. Uve Swaminatha Iyer Library, and also he is a conservation archaeologist, and he himself is an epigraphist. Through his REACH organization, REACH, he teaches many aspiring candidates the how to interpret the epigraphy, inscriptions, and also Dr. T.S. Ravishankar sir, he is a director of epigraphy. I welcome you, sir, for this enriching journey. I hope all the participants who are physically present here, who have joined through the online session, will be very happy to take this 5-day workshop. Very all the best. Thank you, sir. And also, not least, our management members. I would like to thank all the management members for offering this wonderful opportunity to our COEANC for this workshop. Thank you, Madam Principal, Vice Principal, as well as all the department heads by sending their students. Thank you.
I kindly request Dr. Ramadevi Shekhar ma'am to honor the chief guests. I kindly request Dr. Satyamurthy sir to share a few words with us. Sir?
Namaskar. It's very happy occasion for me to see young people come forward to learn something about our ancient heritage and culture. Of course, I am very much thankful to this college administration It's not the first time I'm coming here. I've come many times. I have come some earlier occasions also. Thankful to the management and also Rama Devi and her colleague, and of course get a great colleague. Of course Ravi Shankar is there. He is going to teach you and make you to study the Sanskrit epigraphy within 5 days. Of course, if you don't have Sanskrit background, you will learn it because of his method of teaching. Of course, he is one of my junior colleagues who worked in Archaeological Survey of India. I myself worked in Archaeological Survey of India for more than 36 years. And then came out and we are now having, as she told, the REACH Foundation, through which we are generally, there is teaching. First is teaching, that is Tamil epigraphy. Actually, the problem with the Tamil Nadu is we have got many epigraphical records. Of course, we have got more than the 60% of the epigraphical records which we are having in India is only in Tamil. But our people are ignorant about it, because when we go to the temple and ask them what is this, they say me something written. They don't know it is Tamil. Of course, it was a Tamil of 1,000 years old, Rajaraja's time or earlier time. They don't know it is Tamil, so they don't preserve it. So our first problem came, that is for preservation of these temples. We took it as a project in REACH also. We did so many temples. We taught the people how to conserve the ancient temples, because ancient temples, if they are preserved, then only our culture will be alive. That is the problem. Either we have got many temples dedicated to Brahminical culture as well as Jains. We got many Jain temples in Tamil Nadu. All were in ruins because the people were not knowing that is history of it. That was the problem. So first we thought to preserve this temple, we should teach the people this how to read these inscriptions. So we had a project that is we included. Of course, within of course people cannot come every day. So Sundays we started teaching it for about 3 months, about 12 weeks. Since you know Tamil, that is you can pick up early. It is not necessary you must know the classical Tamil. You know ordinary Tamil, you can pick up. If you know the script, it is sufficient. So they pick it up, and we have got more than 300 persons trained. So the entire, it was a movement. But anyway, the problem of epigraphy is that is linguistic differences. But even if you see Sanskrit, of course, the people say we don't want Sanskrit. But without Sanskrit, you cannot read any inscriptions, any language. Even in Tamil Nadu, I was telling about the Tamil inscriptions. More than 60,000 inscriptions, if I am correct, more than 60,000 inscriptions are there. But if you see this Chola inscriptions, Pallava inscriptions, and even later Vijayanagara early inscriptions, you see, all of them will have the Sanskrit as the first part. The primary part will be Sanskrit. The Prasasti will be in Sanskrit. Of course, in Gandha script, because the South India Gandha script was more popular. Of course, he will teach you about these things. Gandha script was very more popular. It was written in the Gandha, and then only the Tamil portion will come. So without seeing this, reading this Sanskrit part, if you read the Tamil part, it will be irrelevant. You cannot link it. That is a problem. So now there were so many people, great people here who have done great work. There is both in Sanskrit and Tamil, and we published many inscriptions. Now we have only about 20 or 25% are published. Other things are yet to be published. There is a problem. But anyway, if you see the history of epigraphy, it will be very interesting. Why this epigraphy was given a very important position, not only by us, by Britishers also. Because when the Britishers came ruling here, they found a problem. That is, there was a diversity among the people. There is a different people, different culture. Even within a state we go, there are so many people are following a different culture, different customs. So how the ancient people ruled them? They wanted to just do a research and find, because we have got a Vijayanagara rule, we got a Chola rule, and so many, there is very big kingdoms were there. But how they managed it? So that was the challenge, and they went through it, and they found that is these inscriptions or the royal orders, or else royal orders. If a land is given, if you go even from the beginning, if a land is given to a particular person or for a particular deed, for a particular purpose, it is completely written why it is given, how it who was given. And of course, if we write history out of that, I will come to it little later. So that is the thing, history of it. So then they say the land, then they say how it was given, and the territory of the land. That is very great thing in Tamil inscriptions. If you go to the Chola inscriptions, even today you can identify the land. That is how Rajaraja Chola has given about 1,000 years back. But now if you go, you can identify the land because the territories, the boundaries have been well defined and written in the, that is in the inscriptions. So they found these inscriptions gave them a clue that by giving an order, of that order, that we have to make them to understand you were following an order which the king has given or emperor has given. So they thought these inscriptions ought to be preserved. Of course, even before coming of Archaeological Survey of India in 1862, this epigraphy has become a subject, and they appointed a chief epigraphist for the entire India for different subjects, but one chief epigraphist was there. Different languages were Sanskrit, Tamil, and all languages were there. But the chief epigraphist should see it and approve it and then publish it. That was the order. Now anybody can publish these inscriptions. Those days it should be approved by, because they were all royal orders. Royal order has an order. That is, it was first the procession of the king, then the historical aspects will come. It will be hidden, you have to interpret it, you have to read between the lines. K.N.'s Neelakanta Sastri has written, written this Chola history, depending upon all these inscriptions only. What you are seeing in the movie today, that is whatever they have taken. That is, it is based on Neelakanta Sastri's book only, base. That is the big. Because he based it on the inscriptions only. They go. We cannot imagine. Of course, fiction will be there. Generally, if you say something, fiction will come, some percentage it will come. Because you have to, if you don't imagine or have your own thought, you will not improve the history. In history, part of the history will be fiction only. That will be there. So that is Ponniyin Selvan could write. Because of these inscriptions only. He thoroughly has gone through the inscriptions. Out of that only he has brought this Ponniyin Selvan. Of course, now later, now people are saying more inscriptions have come. At that time, that is whatever with inscriptions we conclude, that is not final. Some more new inscriptions are found. You have to take it into considerations and change your history or your aspect or whatever your that is convention to it. That is a problem. But anyway, that is, he could write. That is actually, there is basing on these inscriptions only. So the Britishers gave importance to this epigraphy, and they appointed a chief epigraphist. By that time, Ferguson and so many people came who also surveyed the temples, entire subcontinent, including Sri Lanka and Ceylon and all the, even this entire South India and also this Southeast Asian India, that is countries, they have surveyed and they gave the report. So that also gave them additional information about how art also developed with the inscriptions. The inscriptions are, of course, for archaeologists. That is, they have to depend upon three things. One is when we do excavations, we generally depend upon stratigraphy. Stratigraphy means when you dig a site, that is the earliest thing will be in the bottom, and the latest thing will be in the top. That is thing why how the mounds are made. Even if you go to any of the site, including your Kiradi or everywhere you go, that is the sites are that's made because of this so many problems, natural calamities, or maybe a flood, or maybe some other water scarcity. If you go to that is Indus sites, that is because of the no water was there. They removed to some other site because the rivers have become dry. So that is a problem. So when they go, naturally there will be mounds will be formed. So people, if the calamity is there, that is all will collapse. Mound will form. So the latest thing will be in the top. So when we excavate, that is we go to see the earliest thing only in the bottom. So accordingly, we have to fix the date from later to part. Earlier, when we started the excavations, that is in 1960s, 70s, when we were trained, at that time not so much of scientific advancement was there. Now we have got many advancements. Of course, even dating, only sea footing dating was at that time. Now we got many more dating methodology here. So that is one methodology. Another is direct inscriptions will directly throw light on your, that is inscriptions. You will tell about the paleography. On the paleography, you can give the date. So that is inscriptions are available. That is very, of course, very rarely you get it in excavations. Of course, we do get in some of the brick temples, even in stone temples, the fragments will be there. We get it. But another thing is the coins. The coins are very important. Coins directly throw light on this particular culture or particular field, because if you find a Roman coin that is in a particular stratigraphy, you can say there was a Roman trade, or you can fix the date, because the Roman coins are all dated. Even our own coins are now dated. Almost all the coins are, because of stratigraphy, we can dated it. That is, even numismatic studies have gone so much. We have got even South Indian Numismatic Society, All India Numismatic Society. So almost we have got many points, because the coin is found, and if it's not published, it is as good as undiscovered. So once it is published, we know the date. We can give the site date. It was even in South India when the Mortimer Wheeler, he was a great archaeologist who was given that is great dating to all the sites in South India. He could find a coins in one of the sites in Chandravalli. According to him, it was having a Roman contact, because Roman potteries were found. So he gave that is the pottery was known as Andhra pottery. Yes, that Andhra pottery was named, and it was dated to 1st century BC. So all the sites wherever he got this, that pottery, he gave a datum line. That was a very important thing. So the coins gave important, because the coins have that is labels. The labels are inscriptions, small inscriptions, the king's name. You can see even Sadhavana coins. You can see even earlier coins in Tamil Nadu also. We find early Sangamage coins published by Dr. Krishnamurti, the Nirmala Krishnamurti. Has published many coins belonging to Sangamage and Pallava period, and so many periods. So they give direct direction. So in that respect, that is, inscriptions are very important. That is for writing the history, if you want to understand. Of course, you may be maybe belonging to some other faculty. Even when we started the course for Tamil epigraphy, we fixed only anybody who is knowing Tamil can join. We find many IAS officers, IPS officers, they joined. They were all benefited, because it is only interesting subject. It is only a common subject for the people. If you want to, even IAS people, if you want to rule, that is, they should have the background. That is, out of these people were made. What is our culture? What was our heritage? So out of which we can mold them, we can directly approach the people. That was things, there's even in archaeology is very important, because it gives the history of the human race, as well as so many habits of the people also. Suppose if you find a shallow plate, of course, if you go to Indus sites or in North Indian sites, northwestern states, if you go and excavate, even Balochistan, you get plates of shallow only. Shallow plate means not having very ridge. That means they use only dry food for eating, the chapati or roti, whatever is there. But if you come to south, you will get bowls, deep bowls. Here we use that is a type of that is semi-solid or even liquid food. Even if you go to megalithic barriers, which are excavated, that is Adichinallur, hundreds of thousands of that is deep bowls we got. That shows the people who are eating this. There's not dry food. They were using this semi-solid or there is even liquid food. That is their food habit. It shows like that every habit is that is you can find is in the archaeological material. So to raise your that is yourselves, to raise your innovations, it is required. There is a basic knowledge about 1,000 years, 2,000 years, people how they use even the engineering skill. We go to the Rajaraja Choleswaram. We got a building of this type. We don't know how long these buildings will survive. We don't know. We don't have a data. But we got buildings which are more than 1,000 years old, where they use the technology, they use the materials which are all standing for more than 1,000 years. So these are the things which you should understand. You need not be an archaeologist. You need not be an epigraphist. It is such a general, you must be very interesting. All the people who have contributed for archaeology and epigraphy, they are all from outside only. Even I. Mahadevan contributed so. He is an IAS officer. He was not basically an epigraphist and didn't study this archaeology basically. He is from Tamil Nadu. Like so many people have contributed that is who are not basically in archaeology. You don't think that this is subject which we are learning additionally. It is a base knowledge which you should have. You go to any field, you may become an IAS officer, EPS officer, an auditor, accountant, so many officers. So many advocates and auditors have contributed much to the archaeology. I have seen them come and give a new direction for the studies. So this is the very good opportunities which you have got, whether you are utilizing it or she has given the opportunity means you are utilizing it. It's a great thing. So that is, I congratulate, I also appreciate. Of course, for me also it is a good opportunity to move with you. I am unable to be here with you for most of the time. She will be there and our colleague is here. He is going to teach you that is about the paleography, you are taking paleography and also, that is the main. And paleography, how the script has developed and Tamil has developed, so many things you come. Similarly, you can learn Tamil epigraphy also, because which is basic knowledge which you require if you want to understand, because that is published and the editor inscription is okay. You can go to the secondary source, but original source if you want, you must know epigraphy. Then only you can read the inscriptions. Even if it is published, you can interpret it in your own way. The man who has published, who has written on that, has got his own knowledge, own interpretation, he has given. But when you come out, now the modern age, you may be having more that is powers because artificial intelligence has come. So you are all you got to go natural. Come, that is artificial, that is intelligence. So you can use it and you can develop our history and the field of epigraphy and archaeology is that is more flourishing, and the history can be brought. It is a good opportunity. I am very much thankful to her to give me an opportunity to share some of the things with you. Thank you all. That is a good wishes.
Thank you so much, sir. Our chief guest, T.S. Ravishankar sir, born in the year 1955, had his M.A. Sanskrit, Ph.D. from the University of Mysore. Having joined the epigraphy branch of the Archaeological Survey of India as an epigraphical assistant, he has served for more than 35 years in different positions and gradually has risen to the present position of the head of the branch. He retired as a director. He is the chairman of the Epigraphical Society of India, executive member of Place Name Society of India, and vice president of South Indian Numismatic Society. Dr. T.S. Ravishankar sir has established his experience in deciphering Sanskrit inscriptions and also early coins. We are pleased to welcome this eminent person. Welcome, sir. I request Dr. Ravishankar sir to share a few words with us.
Very good morning to all the dear participants, the faculty members, Dr. Satyamurthy sir, Professor Ramadevi, and many faculty members who are primarily responsible for conducting this workshop. And I thank the Shasuneons Jain College for Women and the Center of Excellence Art and Culture for organizing this workshop. It was my long desire. I used to often, while I was in service, very often I used to visit we have a zonal office at Secretariat, Office of the Deputy Superintendent Epigraphist, Chennai. So I used to come with my colleagues and go to the press mainly for printing annual reports and essay volume, many things. So in the post-COVID period, when I was touching almost all the different parts of the country, mainly to create awareness about the subject, because it's coming down. So since last many months we were trying and she could succeed. Such a thing should happen periodically, not एक बार किया फिर 10 साल में हो जाएगा, ऐसा नहीं. This should happen, successive batches. New students are coming and should be taught. As I mainly feel, no, we need the second and third line of scholars, as Sir expressed in his talk. So I take this opportunity to thank our organizers of this workshop. Yes, it's a question of time, how many days we have on hand, how many hours we have. It's that's what I call it. Like Bhagavata Saptaha, I call it Shasana Saptaha. At least I moduled in such a way, structured things in such a way. You can't go somewhere and start from the basic, you have to take it step by step. It's a connecting. Today I can't directly come to Siddhamatrika. The basics, each is connected. When you see a necklace, each hook holds. So there is a gradual evolution which you have tried to understand. So depending on the time and this one, I have come prepared. Yes, we have many constraints. Normally it goes in 2 sessions in morning and afternoon due to, so I will be able to come. Maybe when I discussed, sir, this would be a sort of introduction, first level. So in the second level, you can teach much more and bring them into the fold of epigraphical studies. So we will take this as a beginning, not the end. So further initiative should take many more colleges. There are so many art colleges, so many history department. Why are you forgetting that epigraphy is a primary source to understand our past? It's very sorry state of affairs which is going. That too, Tamil Nadu, as Sir said, it occupies the topmost major chunk of the inscriptions are from Tamil Nadu. As I said, 50 to 60%, and it's many are there, and many more are coming to light. So with this few words, we will resume again. I thank the anchor to give me this opportunity to express few words. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah.
You are all very fortunate to give Rama Devi. She is a direct student of Dr. Nagasamy, was a great epigraphist and archaeologist who made the archaeology in Tamil Nadu. She Shisha, Guru Shisha scheme. She was trained for 3 years under her. Probably in epigraphy she may be knowing better than me. So congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. You can use her. That is even after this course is over. Thank you all.
No, yeah. Thanks, sir. In fact, I told this entire workshop is dedicated to his memory. I had a unique opportunity in associating with him many times, and a great epigraphist, art historian, whatnot. So we dedicate to his memory this entire series of our talk. Thank you very much in the name of.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll have a short break in between, and then we'll continue with the workshop.
Now anyway, due to time constraints, I think tomorrow, I heard, most of you from different departments, from different colleges, different places. So I wish to know tomorrow, because around 1 I have to wind up my class. And tomorrow onwards, till the rest of the days, we will be dealing with the paleography. That is the main focus. And I will try to blend both epigraphy and paleography in between. I can't go for a detailed presentation. So, though we have said it is up to 12th century Common Era, such a vast period cannot be covered in these few days. Ultimately, it is not the quantity, number of classes you attend, or the takeaway each day is very important. Learning. Simply, I can't tax you too much, and it's a very specialized area. And since you are from other background, we will devote some time. The question, at least 10-15 minutes, it's not one way hearing, and what's your understanding equally important. The early Brahmi phase, actually we will be focusing more. What I intend, in these classes, if I do, it's a teaching skill I am giving you. It's not that I do again. You should be able to teach that another 10 students, and that will go on like that. So that's the whole purpose. And decipherment is the main thrust, the paleography. Suppose you come across there are so many museums. It's not only Chennai, Egmo. When you travel all over India, you are likely to go to National Museum, Indian Museum, many museums are there. Naturally, you will have the curiosity to know, please come, to know which script it is written. Paleographically, there are two things. Before I go with this, I want to have a very brief, the antiquity of writing. In fact, I had a very detailed presentation. I can't go with that. Keeping time constraints, I have to skip many introductory things. But I will be briefly telling you. Normally, we go straight away, right, we come to the Ashokan, or early Brahmi, Ashokan Brahmi. Now, it's very much required, the antiquity of writing, the whole world civilization, and then the antiquity of writing in India. Can any one of you define what is writing? You have been writing, you have been doing, what is? Can you define what is writing, please? Exactly. Very nicely defined. To put it in the words of David Deringer, writing is the graphic representation of language. That's how graphic representation of language is writing. Two works, a must-read books for anyone, you may be from any discipline. One is the writing, a truncated version of the writing you can read, all PDF available. David Deringer, the author, David Deringer, please note, you can unload, PDF. And then another bigger version is alphabet. So try to read the books whenever you have time. At least what I keep telling the participants, in a day at least keep half an hour of something connected with epigraphy. You try to read, maybe from Epigraphy Indica or any Tamil, there are lot things. So take away some time to stay connected with the subject. Otherwise, mere certificate it's not the purpose. To impart knowledge, to share my experience. So reading is something which you have to do every day, something connected with epigraphic studies. So please read this Derringer. The question comes whether the writing existed or the language came. Can any one of you tell? Yes, brilliant. So there were hundreds of languages were spoken in the past. The whole continent when you read. So this if you read, you will try to know about the Egyptian cuneiform, hieroglyphy, the Chinese, Japanese, so many writing. And why I'm telling, insisting, many are trying to or making efforts to decipher the Indus. It will somewhere help you to connect to locate, to situate the Indus script. You should have the scripts that were popular at that time or known at that time. Then somewhere it can lead. You can make efforts, but knowledge of the overall languages or the script that were written in the past, at least in brief. Why I'm telling, I'm really, Vidyashilpa Bangalore, I had a class of 6th standard. They were so brilliant. They know more about the cuneiform, hieroglyphy. They have access to this, they have tried to know more than what I know, they know much more about it. In 1.5 hours class, believe it or not, they could write their names, all 6th standard. Extremely brilliant. Nowadays generation, they are too fast in understanding. Of our generation, we were much slow. So the brilliant. So that's why I keep telling, epigraphy has no barriers. As Sir said, heritage. Tomorrow when your parents, what you will see. Unless you know something, you can part that knowledge to your son, your children. About mythology, about art history. Going around temple, not then. I have seen many places when I visit, either Halebid, Belur, Somnathpur or any temple with the beautiful panels. Unless you are little aware of the Ramayana or Mahabharata or any panel, even Jataka tales when you go around, if you don't know, how you will convey this to your children? It's not just for a few couple of selfies. We just stick, yes, this place I have visited, it's over. It's not like that. So real knowledge you have to pass on to the next generation. That we have to train. Unless you are aware of the script, the richness, how you can convey to your next generation. So we are in a very fast world, and the scenario of epigraphy, when I joined the department or when I joined the survey, it was each department you go, there was a reputed, dedicated professor to teach epigraphy. Whether you go to Haryana or any part of any Kurukshetra, any university. But over the period of time, archaeologists, they have been managing the show. Why can't we revitalize this up? This, I have taken as a mission to go to different parts of the country. They should know the richness. Tamil Nadu, yes, it is there. When you go to this you see the Kailasanatha temple, how beautiful Siddhamatrika characters, how beautiful calligraphically very rich inscriptions are there. So this main motto, I joined as a Sanskrit assistant. So I traveled extensively during my service days in the north, including the northeast. And I would like to extend this even when you visit Southeast Asian countries like Cambodia. I very well remember once a very great talk given by Professor Nagaswamy sir about the Cambodian Sanskrit inscriptions. So you have to extend your areas. You go to any SAR countries, Sri Lanka, Burma, the greater India. What the script, it traveled around 5th, 6th century to other countries, Southeast Asia. So coming little back to that, so there were many languages that were spoken, they used to convey. And the writing, came much. The mankind was in existence since last, and the language is as old as mankind itself. I make a sound, noise, or something, you will be able to understand. Once you devise a script, it can reach a wider public, wider knowledge. So they felt the necessity, and David Derringer says, more than the discovery of the fire, wheel, the discovery of the script is the magnificent achievement of mankind. Just imagine, you are all writing now what I tell or make notes. You go back to that nomadic period when they were just moving. The entire knowledge would have been paralyzed. We would have been in darkness, knowing nothing. So you can well imagine the contribution to mankind, how he attempted. So that he has tried to trace it in 5 stages. When you read the book, I cannot go in the details. I had excellent presentation, in fact, about the Indus also. For some Kharagpur, I had made a presentation, the story behind the Indus. Because this 5 days is a too short period for me to cover the entire gamut of epigraphical studies. So we'll go in next mode when we go to the second stage. Whatever possible, because my coming and your stay should be, you have traveled long distance also, I also come, it should be useful. It should be useful. Otherwise, no point in that. So ultimately, you should feel satisfied when you go back home. Yes, today I have learned something which I have to try to practice. Not only that, you have to convey to the next. You make a group when you are from different colleges. Why can't you speak a small thing about Ashokan Brahmi? You can teach another 10. That 10 will go to another 100. So this is how we have to carry on. It is not that old people alone come. Our shoulders have become weak to carry on the burden. Somewhere it is time to throw the mantle on the youngsters to carry on this legacy. Otherwise, tomorrow, early Nagari, there will not be expert. Now a situation has come from northeast Manipuri language. Earlier there were experts. If you go to that, they know the modern Manipuri, the inscription which are written 300, 400 years. Nobody knows. It is a forgotten chapter. So we have 80 stamp pages in Mysore, bundled and kept because of lack of knowledge of Manipuri. So unless this is passed on, tomorrow even the Brahmi may come to the stage. Kharoshti is already there. There are many grey areas in epigraphy which we have to carry like shell characters, Shankulupi, or box-headed nail. Further research. Professor Ajay Mitra Shastri would have done something. Are we not to carry on their contribution? So this is a very serious thing, and yes, it's multidisciplinary. The 5 stages in the development, what Derringer says, is the pictography. Art started. When you go, you may see some, a hunting scene you may see. Earlier, he conveyed his ideas or thoughts through pictures, to painting. He would like to say, I could hunt a deer or something, or river is flowing with wavy lines, or sun is shining, all through pictorial representation. So pictography, ideography, and then comes the alphabet, this phonetic And the last is the alphabetic stage. First is the pictography, ideography, and the phonetics, and the four stages. So it developed. Suppose how we know with a cross like this, we give the phonetic sound ka. So the number of symbols got reduced. That's how we have, whether you write in Roman script or our Nagari, they brought it down. So you should try to know this. When you read the book, I can't go in detail or depth because many other things I have to touch upon. So this, when you read the writing, he has clearly with the illustration, beautifully described. It reads like a literature. You should enjoy reading. Yes, it's not like Sidney Sheldon or something, novel reading. So we have to reread again and again. Even article in Epigraphy Indica, you may have to read thrice. Leave alone the text. What Sarkar has written or Professor Nagaswamy, we can't in one go understand. Because the thoughts are so powerful, so depth, dimensions, you can see, you have to read many times to understand the real, true purpose behind that. So this and the major or the cuneiform, hieroglyphy and cuneiform are the two major systems, and all are given, beautifully given. Please read the book. For David Derringer, there are many books are there. After reading, you can it all see. You require a foundation. All of a sudden, know how it started. You should know the beginning, the genesis, how it started all this system. Yes, coming to the antiquity of writing in India, still it is uncertain. And normally, we classify things in two stages. One is the literary sources, another the archaeological sources. Literary sources, you have the Vedas, where there are specific references like Likhapita, Lekhani, so many Sanskrit words, Chandas. So automatically it gives a strong, this one, there did exist some system of writing. Though we say the oral tradition was so powerful, they transmitted. But there might have been so many secular things which they have put it on the birch leaf or palm leaves, and over the period of time, they would have perished. This is what I strongly believe. There did exist a system of writing. Even then, coming to the, you can say, the Brahminical, the Buddhist tradition, that also mentions. In fact, we have 6th, 7th century work, Lalita Vistara, which mentions 64 names of 64 scripts. We could identify only few of them, some having geographical connotation, some based on the scripts. So, different point of time. And nowhere there is a mention this is written in Brahmi script. And unfortunately, in Maharashtra somewhere, Dhammalipi, they have started a movement. They say the Ashokan Brahmi, what we teach is written in Dhammalipi. Neither K.J. Krishnan, Dr. Ramesh, nobody interpreted. When you say Dhamma, it is a religious way of writing. So now they are trying to give the name for early Ashokan Dhammalipi. Now making a very, I strongly objected to that move. Yes, so nowhere they have, over the period of time, right from Princeps to all, they have defined. And we have to go by that Bueller or so many paleographers. So the antiquity, we have Jainas also. Jaina literature also mentions the mention of certain words connected with writing. So the archaeological sources are Anuradhapura, and now the latest is our KAD excavation. They have sufficiently pushed back the antiquity. Earlier we were thinking of 3rd century, whether north or south, Tamil Brahmi or Brahmi, what we say, it had its own late origin, but the excavation along with other archaeological objects, Professor Rajan and others, they have clarified our system of writing goes to 6th century. So the Anuradhapura, of course, it's an earlier instance, it is taken to 4th century. See, the idea is to bridge the gap between the Indus and the Brahmi, because when you take the Indus script, it's a proto-history. Nowadays many say it's not a writing at all. Professor Dr. D.V. Sharma says it's only a way of representation. He gives religious interpretation, so many other things. So proto-history. Proto-histories we have partly deciphered, or partly known, or existence of some sort of writing, that is the pro-history. Prior to that, prehistory. It is only history. For our convenience, now we call it early history, medieval history, modern history. In the flux of time, it's one history. But for specialization, for understanding, we call it proto-history, prehistory, early period, early modern, or whatever you call it, medieval period. It's all for our convenience. We have classified this to specialize. But when it comes to the ancient history, yes, so antiquity of writing still debated. Exactly we are unable to fix. Slowly the excavations are revealing it as a little early phase, and Professor T.P. Orma also somewhere while analyzing the antiquity of writing or Brahmi script, he says around 6th century, because he takes there was cultural efflorescence, religious efflorescence. When the Buddhism, Jainism, Mahavira, Buddha of 6th century, so they say script was there already. But believe it or not, we got in a fantastic, and CP, what is that, Upasak says, it is the genius of the grammarians, Sanskrit grammarians, they devised this Brahmi script. When it comes to us, it has come in full form, with all the vowels, with all the conjuncts, consonants, a couple of conjuncts also. So this is the antiquity, still debated, we don't know still, because one is the origin of Brahmi script, still debated. But antiquity of writing, there are two things. When the students normally get confused when they write an answer, when we ask about the antiquity of writing, they will also bring in Brahmi also, early Brahmi, its origin. So there are two different things. So the excavation, archaeological, this is there, but for us, 3rd century, which we are going to see, since my specialization is in the North Indian paleography, I will be briefly touching upon this South also, because either Vattayathu, Grantha, Tamil, I don't know, because yes, when I have to handle one full semester in Indian Heritage Institute, they gave me one full semester to teach South Indian paleography. I was compelled. It was a challenging task for me to prepare charts for Grantha, to Pallava Grantha, to Tamil, Vattayathu, I took it because we are students. At no point of time, you can consider master when DC Sarkar says still a student. What about us? We are just a shadow, just this one. So I had to learn some basics to pass it on to the students. As then I told, I am not in that area. Kindly invite some more scholars who can give little more in-depth knowledge on these scripts. So that's how it happened. Yes, definitely. Please. So this script, when we deal, at least if time permits, I want to touch upon the Satavahana and Ikshwaku, depending on the time. That we will do that. Anyway, so this is in brief. I have touched upon, because mainly to create a background for you. I can't come directly to the Ashokan. So I have to necessarily say about the antiquity of writing in the world scenario, the place of Rosetta Stone inscription, which is preserved in the British Museum. All you should try to read and enjoy. So it gives very good knowledge, the writing system that prevailed in the past and the antiquity. In the WhatsApp, sometime I will try to write 3 books. You have to necessarily read on Indian epigraphy. First, I would like to suggest Indian epigraphy by DC Sarkar. Okay, a must and should. I consider, though it was written long back, it is still a Bible for us, for the students. What amount of knowledge he has given, the wonderful foundation for epigraph studies. Later, yes, when Richard Solomon wrote the book on Indian epigraphy, he could incorporate some of the latest developments, and especially the antiquity of a subsection. You should read the introduction. There is a good amount of writing on antiquity of writing in India and the writing material. So introduction, please read, and all PDF should be available. This, or even if you are avid going to future epigraphist also, you should have a copy. There is a pleasure in handling the books rather than seeing on the system. So have some, and one should become, irrespective of voracious readers, you should all become read. So there is no, you have excellent library. All the students should use the library and make extensive notes, not to get some already ready-made notes. It's not good. So think, it's research you have to do. Something where they left, you have to take it ahead. It's not just repeating. But unfortunately, we epigraphists are still in a conservative mode. What Krishnan taught, we are still doing. I am one of that also. I am not keeping abreast of the latest developments like digitization. So many things are happening around. Yes, I have that mind. I am inclined to learn also. So this is the second book, Richard Solomon, Indian epigraphy, and then Dr. K.V. Ramesh, Indian epigraphy. So that is of bit little high standard. When Dr. K.V. Ramesh writes, it's one sentence, one para it becomes. Like K.V. Soundarajan, where you read his books, it is too tough. Perhaps you have to read again to understand their high-flown language, very standard writing. But you should try to read this. As far as calligraphy is concerned, 3 books again. Indian Bharatiya Prachina Lipimala, Ojha, Gauri Shankar Ojha, a very great calligrapher. what to say, it's more than century or more than that, it's over, still we are referring to that. We highlight the achievement of Princip, father of Indian epigraphy, but I wish to say in every workshop, there may be many Indian pundits who have put in the efforts, they are taking that credit, but many would have assisted them. We have to go to the archives, find who are all the paleographers. We take the name of the Britishers for everything. Yes, they have done it, but there may be many others, who are involved in this successful decipher. It's better to look into that. And a book is required for the historiography of Indian epigraphical and paleographical studies. There is a small introduction. When you trace the beginning, who are all the scholars, I am going to touch upon that. So this thing is there. So Bharatiya Prachina Lipimala by G.H. Ojha, okay, and then South Indian Indian paleography and South Indian scripts by C. Sivaramurthy. I was the first superintendent here, and then he went to National Museum. It's a wonderful book. When you go to National Museum, you find on display the charts prepared by him. And the introduction you have to read. Absolutely. In early 40s he has written, I wish to say, when we talk about the heritage, it's one thing, we have to think. He has expressed a grave concern in those years how, beautiful inscribed stone slabs are used for washing stones as a washing. And in the construction, he has specifically given some very good examples. That in 40s, now what to speak of now? So when he could express grave concern in the early part of the last century, 1940 and a little later, and many inscribed material. When I was, as a single example, when I was traveling in many parts of the Madhya Pradesh and all, you see the many Jaina images, they have decapitated. When you see the pedestal inscription, they think something hidden treasure is there. So they think something hidden. So they have mutilated these images, and many such things are there. So when it comes to copper plates, he said, in every moment, now we are sitting here, and some part of the country you may see a copper plate is smelted just for the value of the copper. It may be a Gupta record or Kushan, or later period I should say, or even Raja Chola, somewhere in villages. So you have a onerous responsibility task. When you go to your respective villages, you should spread. Go to Anganwadi, some students, some teachers. You have to create a wider awareness about the richness of the script which they are not aware. Just, when it comes to coins, the hoards of coins are just smelted for the value of gold, copper, silver. They don't know, because unless you say you go and hand over some museum or the district collectors. So each batch, when I go to students, vacation they go to different villages. I tell you, meet some group, create awareness about this so that you can salvage our past. We don't know how many pages of history we are losing each day. in some part of the country, in some corner. So this is a very tragic, because I went to a place like Malhar, it's a heritage village, you should say. Each step you go, you find some either Jaina vestiges or Brahminical. And when you go to their house, they have put in beautiful perforated slabs are the windows. And it's a place with a lot of, when I was talking last time, IIT Gandhinagar, I gave a talk on the iconographical perspective of inscriptions. If we re-excavate, especially the Mathura region, it's a nuclei of Aryavarta. You go to that museum, you get the earliest of the Brahminical, earliest of the Buddhist, earliest of the Jaina, what not. Huge colossal images on the pedestal, how the inscriptions try to help us. How to know it is a Bodhisattva or Jaina? There are certain things, but the inscription makes it very clear. It is the image of Amitabha or Tara, some goddess. And that's what I was referring, the Saraswati image of the Kushana period. It's a Jaina, Shruta Devi, you can take the earliest example of a Kushana period as Saraswati, Shruta Devi they call it, and holding different iconography with a few lines, 6 to 7 lines of inscription in Kushana period, dated inscription. So this is a very important thing. So that's what I was talking. See, the epigraphy, when you talk about, the 2-3 groups come. One just to history enthusiasts, they do that heritage affair. And just for sake, they read and appreciate, enjoy books, reading books. But what is the need? We need serious epigraphies. Still, there are many unpublished inscriptions. Unless we have that person, compared to the magnitude of the country, hardly few can count in fingertips. How many epigraphies are there who are all on the job? Unless we create another line, it will go. So it's a very, very serious thing. I say many times we are in a coma stage. Epigraphical studies in a coma stage. You have to push and give some oxygen to revive. So this as a mission I have taken up to spread the knowledge in every part. It's good. Many of the Institute of Archaeology students, including ADG, they were all my students when I started from 95 onwards teaching epigraphy in the Institute of Archaeology. So they realize and they are inviting, they are all either the superintendents or the director or deputy director in different parts of the country. So that's how I am getting some opportunity to interact. Yes, when I interact with the Simla students, I imbibe that culture because I traveled extensively. You have a different feel when you go to the Guwahati or Simla or Jammu, any place, it is so much of cultural divergence, diversity in unity. The main purpose is, in the south, we are rooted to this. Yes, in Tamil Nadu we speak about Vattayithu Grantha and all. If I go Kannada, yes, Kannada, they do that. In Telugu, they don't want to come out of that shell. Why can't you enrich, see ourselves as a pan-Indian script, the whole richness? You are not confined to one area. You go to different parts of the country. Are we not to enjoy, see the Proto-Bengali when you go to or when you see some box-headed characters or nail-headed inscription, you should try to read that. You should try to attempt at least identification. What the course intends, I can't make you master in the 6 days. It's not possible at all. At least if to kindle, ignite some interest in you, that will you can choose. Yes, later you will decide I have a passion to pursue Gupta paleography or late Brahmi or whatever, any area you have to specialize. When you go to museum, that's what I keep insisting for the archaeologist. As Sir was also mentioning, excavation is something remarkable for epigraphs. One thing, you get coins. Knowledge of script is absolutely essential. Whether you read the manuscripts written in anything, you need the knowledge of script, and the coins, you have the knowledge of the script. You have to identify, because coins come with no date except the Kshatrapa coins. Possible I will try to deal with the Brahmi numerals also in this, but I require 2 sessions in a day. It's very difficult to bring in the whole thing in a very short period, because the introduction is something, I have to share, give a overall bigger picture, what is epigraphy and paleographical studies, and then come to this one. Because what happens, when we know too many resource persons have attended, they give one subject, sir, you speak on Siddhamatrika. What I see, and I single-handedly handle, because there is a thread. I know to connect things. Mr. Jaiprakash will speak, teaching is good. Everybody has their different teaching skills. Skills are different. I go, my way of teaching will be different. So whether 7 days or 8 days, I alone do that. Because if you invite others, have some special lectures, it's all right. Sometime, you have to unlearn what you have learned. When others teach, I may be little different, or I may be wrong or right. But many times, it confuses the students. Sir, there is in a different way. And my technique is what I say, you have to take that to other 10, teach that. Teaching technique, which seldom do in the universities. I have seen, they have a few listed inscription, right from Mahabalipuram to Parantaka Chola, a dozen inscription you will read. You will read, but where is the decipherment, the practical side of the knowledge? Oh, chaya. Sir. See the though there may be a lot of digressions in this, but it's very, very important. I have to create that mood also in you to pick up. So this introduction, see we'll be talking about the, please give me. Yeah. Yes. My boss is to tell, TSR means every time TSR. I never say no to tea. I am not a teetotaler. Tea is a welcome. Because of my extensive tour in North, I hope things should not go on record. I used to take at least 8 to 10 cups of tea. I had, where my office was there, a chai ka dukan tha. Every 1 hour he used to give. Sir, I have not told, no, so aap to chai peete lijiye. So very often, without my attendant going and tell him, he used to give the tea. So later, slowly, I had to bring down my tea consumption. Anyway, this coming to this, no, I will orally explain. and go to the next PPT, because time is, I'm fortunately just before me, the big clock also reminds me often. Often I have to take a look also. It's not just go with that. So the two terms, there are some epigraphy. No, what do you understand by epigraphy? How do you define? Yes. Correct. Epigraphy, it's a Greek word, a composition, epigraphy, to engrave upon hard object. Yes, epigraphy, as you rightly said, it is study and interpretation and understanding. What is paleography? What is paleography? Have you heard of paleobotany, paleozoology? Huh? Yeah. Reading and the development of script, modification of each script century-wise, a gradual evolution. We say evolution of the script. So it's a modification which undergoes from different period. That is paleography. Paleo means ancient. Paleozoology, like paleo. So it is the modification the letter undergoes over a period of time. That is paleography. And then here, so these are the two terms often we say. Inscription, epigraphy, study of the inscription in simple term. Paleography is the gradual modification of the letters. So when you read, Dani, Indian paleography by introduction, a must read, I should say, emphasize, underline. So it gives the historiography, who are all the authors, how it started. When it started, the study is very unique. The Britishers are the last quarter of the 18th century, or 17th century, I should say, 1784 or 86, the Asiatic Society of Bengal was established. So the Dani puts the epigraphical study in three phases. The first phase, that is the last quarter of the 17th century, scholars, all around India and even abroad, like Sri Lanka, Southeast Asia, they went all around the country, copied inscription, like South Mahabalipuram to any part of the country. They were tracing, discovering in many new temples and monuments, so even fields. So they were copying hundreds and thousands of inscriptions found from different parts. Next stage is preparation of the paleography charts. Paleography chart, because what you know after copying inscription, are you able to follow me? Any difficulty, you can pull me. I mean, just may not be today, tomorrow onwards 10-15 minutes. Whatever today I have taught, if you have think over, tomorrow you can come with some questions. That not necessarily today itself we will address all the thing. So tomorrow you note down, think over what is taught today, or we will go with that. So the second stage is the preparation of paleography charts. So right from Bueller, Ojha. There are many names. Ojha, Gauri Shankar Ojha, Hiralal, Gauri Shankar Ojha, and see Sivaramurthy, Dani. See this one area, I want to just suggest, you may be interested, may not be, there is a great need to write paleography charts again. Hundreds of thousands new inscriptions have come. What is written long back? They had very little material at that point of time, copper plates. Later, many new dynasties came, many new system of writing came. So, all this, we have to review, but it's a difficult. I can tell, I myself have not done, in the sense, writing. It's a very serious task. So, there is a need to write Indian paleography again, a book covering the entire thing. Because there are certain gaps are there, which I am also putting gaps there. So, we have to examine many new inscription, new charts has to be. So, that is the second stage. Third stage is the preparation of bringing out publication. So, first is copying inscription, second stage is preparation of paleography charts, and the third stage is the publication. So, publication basically, I told the Britishers thought if the Archaeological Survey of India was established in 1867, if I am correct, or 65, 67, our epigraphy branch was established in 1887. Earlier it was in many places. For many years it was in Uttarakhand. Later they shifted it to Mysore. And now it is functioning. So, these three stages are very important. To say something about the language and script also, see, the two languages mainly come. Earlier, as you all know, Prakrit, Sanskrit was there, but for us, the available records are only in Prakrit. A huge number of Ashokan rock edicts found in the entire Indian subcontinent, of course, except Tamil Nadu and Kerala. We don't have Ashokan rock edicts. In broad way, we can say Jainism was so prominent and predominant. That's what all the Tamil Brahmi inscription, they are donatory, they are all dedicated to Jaina beds. When you go to many places here, they have Jain. This one, Kerala was one extension. Though we say Kerala Puta, Satya Puta, all we get in the Ashokan rock edicts. So, we are not going to talk about the importance of certain inscriptions, but the whole thing will be on the paleography, because why I am telling, you can read and understand. About inscriptions, Uttaramerur or any inscription, you can try, you can read, but script knowledge is very difficult, which we have tried to learn over a period of time. So, the scripts, the languages, early phase, right from 3rd century, now the Tamil Brahmi, which they say, the one thing, when it comes to Tamil, the Brahmi inscription which are written, they are in archaic Tamil. You can't, other Tamil, from 7th century, whether the early Cholas, the Pandyas, Chera, whatever, the further, they were written in the Tamil which is different. What the modern Tamil we speak is different. So archaic Tamil, they were written in early phase. Yes, as far as Prakrit, they go together. See, the antiquity, when it speaks, equally so it is in Tamil Nadu as well as in the other part of the country. So along with Ashokan, we have few inscriptions like Saugara, Manse, this Piprava, and like this. Few records. So they were written in Prakrit, and subsequently, one stage you have to remember, I will try to put later. No, I will take it, tomorrow we'll show this. So the two first beginning, end of the 1st century BC. Beginning of the 1st century BC is very important, because whatever the inscription that come, Prakrit inscription with the Sanskrit influence. Please remember, there are Prakrit inscription with Sanskrit influence, and the Sanskrit inscription with Prakrit, that is the period, the big end of the 1st century BC in the beginning, few inscription. It continues, like that Ayodhya inscription, Dhanadev, and the Rudradaman Junagadh inscription, a pure classic Sanskrit verse. It's beautiful, literally outstanding Rudradaman inscription. One has to understand, if really whether Tamil, the knowledge of Sanskrit is absolutely essential. When you speak of epigraphy, script and language, they are like obverse and reverse of a coin. One cannot be without the other. You can decipher, but without the knowledge of how you will, Prakrit, how you will read. Whether Pali, Prakrit or Sanskrit, you have to know. Otherwise you will decipher. There are very good epigraphists, but there are very good Sanskritists, but they don't have the knowledge of the script. So clubbing, bringing both your knowledge of, make outstanding, very good scholar of repute. If you know Sanskrit, you can quote anything and decipher, understand, interpret. Otherwise you will decipher and keep it. So you have to simultaneously develop that, and that's what many Ministry of Culture, they have many short-term courses for Sanskrit language. Many institutions are there. I think Kuppaswamy Shastri in Chennai should not be a difficult center to learn Sanskrit. Many great scholars are here. So that's what epigraphy is, a multidisciplinary subject. Multidisciplinary means, to be a very good epigraphist, you should know the history. Perhaps tomorrow you find a Chola inscription. Unless you know the Chola history, how you will situate the particular king? How you will know who is so and so successor? So any history for that matter, knowledge of history is equally important. You should try to know, so that you can fit in that particular ruler, or when that reigning period ended and started, who succeeded whom. All these important. And the mythology. There are many comparisons. When you read the Tiruvandalur copper plate inscription, many inscriptions, a king is compared to Karna, Yudhishthira. There are many unknown persons from Mahabharata and something, Karna or whatever, and different this one. Unless you know the tradition, mythology, the mythology is very important. So, and the dating, you should be good in dating that inscription based on the data given in the inscription. It's very difficult. Sometimes, Pandyan history is so naughty, in the sense there are so many kings coming. Unless you know the chronology, you can't. We had one very great Seturaman, an industrialist, who was very thorough in Pandyan history. as he was mentioning, is in industries, but lot of interest he took to say this Thirumalai, again IAS officer, and incidentally we were referring the morning talk about the Airavata Mahadevan, who has done lot of work. He is in Tamil Brahmi inscription, the huge corpus. You should read the introduction, and he has updated it, and he has done a lot of work in the Indus also. So being an IAS officer, he used to travel extensively. You should have that fire in the belly to travel. If you decide you should go on exploration, whatever may be this one. So that if you have that, you can do that, create history. So the Pandyan history is there, and the history is this is the multi-dimensional approach. Is the I am going to perhaps I have to restrict to certain slides here. Multi-dimensional means there was a period, pre-colonial period. The Britishers were connected only with the political history. We were all, to give a well-knit history, whether Chola, Chera, Pandya. So they were all connected, and the epigraphies were more focused. Historians were more focused on the political history of, and major, they try to tap the epigraphical sources for the political history. Now it's time to look for the cultural aspects. We have done enormous amount of cultural, whether you take religion, philosophy, art, anything, Our former director used to say, Bhanochistham Jagat Sarvam. Like any aspect, you find it is Bhana has written. Like that he used to say, Shasuneons Jagat Sarvam. Anything under sun, moon, you think of a subject, tomorrow ask me if I am, I can try to guide you. That's what I told. Even if the WhatsApp group is there, you can put some questions. I'd be happy to reply. Some may continue or may not. But it's an interesting area, you have to continue. What I feel, you have to do something to revive epigraphical studies in not only in Tamil Nadu, in the entire Indian context. So it's a time, I have given a lot of talks also. Architecture. There are so many architectural terms occurring in inscriptions. And there are so many coin terms like Karshapada to Vijayanagar period, early period to the later period come. There are some coin names, coin terms are occurring. So relate to numismatics and epigraphy, architecture with epigraphy, sculptural study with epigraphy, anything. So we are in that, earlier we were not caring much. Now interdisciplinary approach is there. Archaeologists necessarily, I was telling, should have the knowledge of the script. You can't say they go hand in hand. Archaeology and epigraphy, they go hand. And I have to stress epigraphy as a primary source. We are forgetting that. Many students, they depend on the already written history, they use, they write. Why can't they develop some research method? Then you can access the original stone. If not, the stamp page is available either in the Chennai office or in Mysore, and the transcripts prepared. Some doubt should come when you read. It's not that if Fleet has written or Dr. Ramesh has written, you should not accept it. If I have written something, it should challenge it. That's many of the conferences which are going on. If somebody presents a paper, it simply goes accepted. Who are there to raise questions? Who are there to challenge? Unless you have that background in the history, you can put some question and modify it, correct it. Still we are on this one. And certain universities carefully xeroxed texts or lessons which were taught 5 decades back by professor to professor. They are passing on the same thing. Are we not to update our knowledge, develop that critical acumen, research methodology to improve our way of writing? It's not that copy and paste. Many researches that are produced are based on the secondary sources with very little of historical research. Any department you take, I am not mentioning, the general message I am giving to the students, especially when it comes to epigraphy, you should go to the original sources. Annual reports are there. They may be wrong. You should, when you read, automatically certain doubt should come to you. And then you will access the original and see what to correct it. So the course of history has to be somewhere changed. Now they say the entire country, we want to rewrite history. What the colonial period have done certain wrongs, we have to set right. This is epigraphy plays a primary role as a primary source. So we are ignoring this. When I interview students, all are interested in prehistory, protohistory, many aspects of archaeology. Nobody is interested in epigraphy, because it's a bit mind-blogging when you get a disturbed or defaced inscription. You may spend 15 days. If you hold a terracotta object, you will define this much centimeter, this much this, pottery is this, graveware, painted graveware, whatever. It's easier. But to interpret an inscription, you may have to spend few days. Something may come immediately, because you should have the knowledge of the meter. Some missing letters you have to read. For that you should have the chandas, meter, Sanskrit. Then you can reconstruct the history past. So why I am stressing this, we are slowly forgetting this is a primary source. So there are many hundreds and hundreds in the social media. I see in the Facebook many new coins, many new seals and sealings are coming, but they coordinated. Even when you go to different museums, hundreds and thousands coins are remaining uncatalogued. Many seals and sealings discovered in museum are there. When you go, they say it is in reserve collection. It's not accessible to the students or this one. So unfortunately, a numismatic gallery is somewhere good. But when it comes to epigraphy, we don't have a structured gallery, including the National Museum, where there is a dedicated gallery for that. They say the question after the workshop, sir, where is the job opportunity for me if I become a regular epigraphist? There are 101 ways. Why can't create in different universities, wherever the ancient history department is there, a dedicated professor to teach epigraphy? Why can't they do? They are abolishing, they are merging the entire scope of study. And similarly, if you have at the district level different museums, you can have one curator to deal exclusively with the epigraphs. So if you want, you can do many things. So it is NGOs and the government responsibility how to revive interest. But otherwise, even I say, you may be a doctor, if you are, you can edit a Pandyan inscription. That your stream of education is nothing to do with this. If you have time, you will devote some time, you will read. It's not that something is only within the four wall. When I could teach 6th standard students who may go to different, but if they have interest, they will try to develop that. So I will divide these presentations tomorrow and after tomorrow, because always my gaze is on the clock, because I have been asked to wind up by 1, because this is a necessity. Certain things which are not here I have to tell and create a background basis for you to understand. Maybe this whatever I have tried to show you, tell you now, and the another one, the as a primary source, it takes at least an hour for me, and exactly we will resume because we had some my reaching here and the inaugural thing took a little more time today. It's all right, but whatever, see, it's not that to cover the entire range of things. Whatever learn, that should be qualitative, useful to you, and read books today itself and try to bring big notebooks. It will be useful, if not this next session or for practicing. As Professor Nagaswamy also used to say, minimum 5 to 6 times. See, you just go back to your school days. Now as I learn Tamil or Roman, this one, when you learn Brahmi, you are all student. You are all think that you are 6th standard or 6-year-old or 7. Students who learn. Over the period of time, it became an unknown script, but very easy, and only thing, you have to follow that. To tell you some more thing about the language, I have to go little early phase. Prakrit ends around the 3rd century Common Era in North. Prakrit inscriptions. You have Sanskrit also, but Prakrit as a language ends in North India around 3rd century Common Era. Yes, in the South, maybe 4th century, because you have this Pallava, early Pallava copper plate charters from Hirahadagalli and others, later the Pallava rulers, they brought Sanskrit. But early Prakrit, early charts of Pallava, they were written in Shivaskanda Varman, if you know. His charts are in Prakrit. Very beautifully written, and so we have Sanskrit inscription, but post Kushan period, or to be more precise, from Gupta period onwards, there is no looking back for Sanskrit. Sanskrit became a pan-Indian language throughout India, even beyond. Whether you go to the extreme north, east, west or south, everywhere Sanskrit was used extensively, and less said of Guptas. Their Allahabad Prashasti is a Champu Kavya, they say. It's written in prose and verse. Harisena. There are so many. I will touch upon the literary merits of Sanskrit inscription little later during my talk. So the Sanskrit continued as a pan-Indian language, Brahmi as a pan-Indian script. See, when you look into the Brahmi, there are two major scripts like Brahmi and Kharoshti, because the Kharoshti also is a script of northwestern region, Gandhara. When Ashoka wanted to convey his message, he got it written in Kharoshti. That's how we have got Mansehra and Shabas Gadi. These are now in Pakistan. But Ashoka, we have two rock edicts. Mainly, it has its origin Aramaic script. The Kharoshti script is well settled. There is no dispute as far as the origin is concerned. North Semitic, Aramic and Kharoshti. Brahmi is still debated. We don't know the origin. In the sense, so many theories have come. Indigenous, we can classify in broadly two groups: indigenous scholars and foreign scholars. No, not scholars, origin. Indigenous origin, foreign origin, like Greek, South Semitic. That, you see, the book, Indian paleography, even now, I've been reading last 35 years. Each time when I go to any workshop, I reread it, because so much of they have put in their writing. It gives new thoughts, new ideas. You have to strengthen your skill of understanding. So, Dani book, I strongly recommend at least one. Each should have a copy of that book. You got the introduction and the regional scripts. He has touched upon wonderfully. Very well written book. So, the script Brahmi, the Kharoshti, has a history of 600 years. Say from 3rd century BC to 3rd century Common Era. And later what happened, it went to Central Asia. It never remained in India. It went to Turkestan or Central Asia. It became a script popular there. And then we have few inscription. Again, we epigraphists, we have focused only on Brahmi. There is a great need. There are no scholars, I should say, who can decipher the Kharoshti script. There are, but hardly. So, as a students, to revive interest in one major script, Kharoshti, please practice. What I say, the Guru are the facsimiles given in the book, whether you go to Epigraphy Indica or Corpus. You have got beautiful photographs of the inscription. That only they are the teachers, ultimately. You keep the text of the published facsimile text, you follow each letter, you can learn. So, for any who is interested in this one, the beautiful photographs are there. So, you can try to learn that. So, Brahmi has a long history, say from 3rd century BC to 12th century. In the sense, Brahmi and its derivatives, I underline that, not Brahmi. Brahmi and the derivatives has a long history of 1500 years. Say from 3rd century BC to 12th century up to Nagari stage. So remember, Sanskrit is the only language, scripts are different. You may write in Kushana script, again Sanskrit, or Gupta, again Sanskrit, Boxeded, again Sanskrit, Kutila, Sanskrit. So scripts got diversified names, but the language stood Sanskrit alone. And coming to the little phase like south, north to baate nahi, because the Sanskrit continued. But 5th century onwards in the south, you have earliest Kannada inscription. Somewhere in 7th century, I am not speaking of the classical Tamil. Tamil inscription, you have 6th, 7th century, early, later Pallavas, Cholas, early Cholas. So, they developed the regional language like Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, and then the Malayalam has a very late origin in 14th, 15th century. It's a very late period. And it developed from Vatted script. So the Sanskrit was extensively used along with the rulers, like any ruler you take, along with the Kannada inscription, they got the Sanskrit inscription also. You take any dynasty, whether Karnataka, Tamil, Andhra, they had Telugu inscriptions along with that Sanskrit, Malayalam inscription again with the Sanskrit. So Sanskrit as a language continued even late medieval period also. Like even rulers, Mysore Odayars, the Nayakas, many dynasty, they issued their inscription. Sometimes the language may be Kannada, the script may be Kannada, but the language is Sanskrit. Telugu script, only in Tamil Nadu the question comes, you cannot, the phonetics of the language doesn't permit you to write in Tamil script Sanskrit. So there they brought in the Grantha script, exclusively devised to write whether the invocatory verse or wherever they want to write Sanskrit. There are exclusively, of course, Grantha inscriptions, Sanskrit inscriptions written in even the copper plate charters. When you see the Tiruvandalur plates, there are Tamil portion as well as Sanskrit. So this Pallava Grantha is different, highly calligraphical, which they wrote Sanskrit also. So you remember, in broad terms, the Sanskrit was there all along from 5th century onwards in the south, especially regional language along with this. Yes, when it comes to north, the Marathi somewhere in 11th century we have, 10th, and the Gujarati, Bengali, Punjabi written in Gurmukhi, they are all of 10th, 11th century onwards in the north you find. Yes, so tomorrow again I will try to show, perhaps it is here in this, the broad classification of the scripts also. As we say, the early Brahmi is defined from 3rd century BC to the 3rd century Common Era. That is the early Brahmi, which includes, we will be dealing the Ashoka, Shunga, Kshatrapa and Kushan. The 6th century is called early Brahmi. Late Brahmi, 5th century, that is Gupta, and their contemporary feudatories, they used late Brahmi. And that classifications, better I will put it on the board, or I think same slide I have this. Now, anyway, unfortunately, it is striking 1. I will also end, because as I understand, mostly after 45 minutes, the whatever taught, however interesting it may be, it goes above the head. Assimilating, that's very important. What you have learned, you should think over, brood over. Night also, see, you think of this. Today, a very serious thing has come to you, epigraphy. You read books, you try to understand, and tomorrow exactly by 10, we should resume our classes. I should also try to reach early, so that I will go with the Brahmi, Ashokan Brahmi. Please bring bigger notebooks, because I told no, here and there I will talk about some epigraphy aspects. More thrust will be on these 5 days. We will try, we'll start. However, how much I can try to progress, let us see. I don't want to bring in too many scripts and confuse you. Better learn something, though it is mentioned in the up to 12th century, it would be, because my approach is 3-pronged. One is writing. I do believe in writing. Many, they just distribute charts. It doesn't serve, You have to minutely observe where I put the head mark, how much length I give the vertical stroke, how much the horizontal stroke, because each period defines in different ways. This computer generated charts unfortunately are not, it can give basic concept, but it will be not that good. So many, they have done this, but I normally in my all workshop, I put it on the board. So please follow, write, and the same chart will be shared in the WhatsApp group, or I give my master copy, it can be xeroxed and given. Some time, either in the beginning, I would be interested 10-15 minutes to each of you to introduce yourself, so that others also can know about others, and you can interact also. It's not that you have come from different. Now we are like in one family. You are here for few more days, and those who understand better, you interact and and you can pose me some questions also, and that's all. So with this, I conclude my first day session, and tomorrow we'll assemble. I'll start, and in between I'll try to one or two, because there are so many presentations are there. We can talk on epigraphy itself, but my focus is this time on this. Hopefully we should meet again. There should be another session where we can go in little more depth, and whatever you read, apply the knowledge. Application is important. If I read Ashoka, you read a three-pronged approach is, one I will write, I will show I copy of the inscriptions also, my three-pronged approach. One I will write, another I copy I will show, and later the original inscription. Because many inscription, if I show directly, damaged, you will not understand. So it is in 3 stages: writing, I copy, and then the original. So it goes to your mind. Whatever taught, it should enter in your this one, so that you can pursue. So all the best for today's lecture. Yeah.